movieweb.com.
The world's greatest detective is back.
Clearly a violation. Take that ticket! Stop this car immediately!
And he's on his biggest case
The legendary Pink Panther diamond has been stolen.
ever. Now he's assembling an international dream team.
Your name?
Censoro Caras Guardialupi Branca Leone.
Don Corleone.
Tell me more about Inspector Clouseau.
He's a little strange.
Clouseau.
I was just thinking that we've had such dark times recently, you know, wars, the economy, all this stuff. And even the films that came out as of late have been very serious and very dark. And here's the first film that's lighthearted and funny. Can you talk about releasing a good family comedy now, especially at this point in time?
Well, I think it's bad luck for the world, but good luck for the movie. I think in times of trouble, people do seek entertainment and solace from comedy. So let's hope it translates into joy, for people who might be struggling. Aren't I an altruist? Isn't that great? No.
Yes, somehow you want to be in a movie deep and dark, and sometimes you want to be in a movie light for the family, for the kids, and that's the case. And also to work with people that able to create that, to write a script, to make a good comedy like Steve Martin, and that's why I'm here, because I like a comedy. I like drama also. I like love stories. But I like to be in a comedy because it is a different rhythm. A real comedian, which I'm not a real comedian, but let's say Steve, they have their own rhythm, which is speed. Most of the time in drama, you have the time to express yourself because you want to create something deep. But in comedies, you accelerate because you want to surprise people. And also because they have a rhythm like that. And they accelerate suddenly in the middle of the scene. And you have to follow that. And you have to follow that being believable by the audience. And that's why I like comedies also.
Good day. I am Inspector Jacques Clouseau of the French police.
Sono Vincenzo Rocaras Guardialupi Branca Leone.
Don Corleone.
I'm Kenji Matsudo.
Kinji Mazeltov.
Randall Pepperidge.
And this is my associate, Gilbert Ponton, and this is Nicole. Nicole is here to service your needs. And now, there's a crime scene waiting. Oh, excuse me. El Sino di Crimo.
That is not Italian, and I do speak English.
My first question I want to know is, after reading Steve Martin's biography, you see that he is a very intelligent man and that there's always a reason for the things he does in his movies, especially when he writes them. And I'm wondering, do you think he's sort of saying that we put too much of a worthless value on certain artifacts, comparing like the face of the Shroud of Turin to the Pink Panther diamond in this film?
That's a question for Steven. I think Steven's, from the impression I get from him, I think he is a very thoughtful and studious individual, and I think his main concern is entertainment in this case and humor, and what's funny and what's not funny and what's good for the story. And he's very methodical in that sense, and whether he puts a greater emphasis on your question, I would know. That would be a question for him. But he takes his art very seriously. In a sense, he's not that he's an overly serious individual, but he is very methodical, and you can tell there is a very strong thought process in what he does.
Remember, boys, the secret to a successful karate attack is the element of surprise.
Good one.
Thank you.
All right, I want to ask you about working with Jean. He's so great as Ponton, and you guys have this remarkable comedic flow. Just talking, about dealing with another great actor. How do you guys work out, who's the straight man and who's the funny man at every scene?
Well, by definition, I'm the funny one and he's the straight guy. But I find that the straight guy gets a lot of laughs, whether it's Jean Reno or someone else. But I think that a third thing emerges rather than this guy getting the laughs and this guy doing the setup. There's a kind of charisma, that's a charm that comes out of the relationship of the two. And they're a little bit like Laurel and Hardy. I don't even know who they are anymore, but there's a kind of sweetness between these two characters, and I'm really glad that people respond to it, because I think we always had it, John and I, just from day one. We had that relationship, and it was really good.
In the first film, your character Panther was not used to Inspector Clouseau's antics, and in the sequel here, you're really playing the straight man to some very good pratfall type comedy. Can you talk about working with Steve Martin and how you keep a straight face while he's doing his antics?
Yeah, because basically Panther is always impressed by the character of Jacques Clouseau. He's my superior, and he's somebody that I have to protect. I did more protection in the first one than in this one, but I still respect him, and I don't like when people make fun out of him, because he's strange, I know, of course. He's got this way of functioning and finding the clue, and then following the thief and whatever. But I don't like when people laugh. And that's I took that idea from the first one, and I stay inside that.
Inspector Clouseau, it is good to see you back
Who
on
are you?
assignment.
Who sent you?
I am Julian Roman from the movie Web.
Ah, yes. You are quite famous in the underground. I've been expecting you. I would have loved to have done this interview in my office, but it is much too small.
How do you go about solving le crime?
Well, answers it. But how do I know you're not working for a news agency?
Can you tell me about your latest
I'm
case?
afraid I cannot answer that question, as many of the details are classified. I can only tell you that I am part of an international dream team of detectives who has been assigned to investigate the missing Pink Panther diamond, which has been stolen again along with many of the world's other priceless treasures, like the Magna Carta, the Shroud of Turin, and the Pope's ring. Oops. I think that was the classified part.
You're an internationally known sleuth. What is your secret to solving all of the cases?
It's easy. I remain completely focused at all times. Always aware of my surroundings. My eyes are never distracted. No!
Can you
Enough.
tell me about...
This interview is over. Unless, of course, you happen to know the location of the missing Pink Panther diamond.
No.
Well, then do you happen to know our location? I am completely lost.
All right, I know you've heard this question a million times today, but do you see yourself making more Pink Panther films?
If it's with him, yes. If I tell you, if it's with Steve Martin, yes. And if I can, and if it's interesting to do again with good actors, but basically with Steve, yes. Yeah, why not?
Well, do you think they're going to continue on with the Dream Team? Part 3, Part 4?
I have not heard, but it could be an interesting thing if they wanted to spin it off or something like that. It was certainly, I would be attracted to it. I loved working with Alfred and Yuki, and certainly a quirky group of guys.
I was going to say good company in that group.
Yeah, exactly.
I love doing the movies, and the first movie was accepted and did really well. And I hope this one does, because then we get to make a third, and it's really fun for me to do.
Steve Martin is the unmistakable Inspector Clouseau.
What is the password? Hamburger, 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 and Panther.
The Pink Panther 2.